Well, we're taking you now live to Ankara, where Turkey's President Erdogan is just sitting down with our sister channel, TRT Haber. He's speaking to our Director of News and Programs, Fatih Er, and TRT presenter Helen Çift.
Cumhurbaşkanımız bunca yoğun gündemin içerisinde, içeride çok mevzu var, dışarıda keza öyle ve seçim de çok yaklaştı. Bu gece onun vereceği cevapları heyecanla bekleyen milyonlar var ekran başında, biliyorum.
Elections are coming and we're really excited. So thank you so much for having us here and being together here. We are together with TRT World's director and we will be asking questions to our president. And I wish you a very good Ramadan. And because before I will be getting into the very busy agenda and the questions, I will be asking a few questions. You're breaking your fast in your plane, and you're having a very busy schedule. So is this affecting?
Bid a good Ramadan for all of you, congratulating our nations and the Islamic communities. Ramadan. And right after Iftar, and I'm very pleased to be with you, having this program with you before the night's meal. And of course, Ramadan is bringing around serenity. And while enjoying all of those good feelings, we are also required to carry out with our obligations to our people. And for the first time, we are together with TRT in a joint broadcast in the month of Ramadan. And I hope that this broadcast is going to be auspicious for our people. Well, if I say I'm not tired, it would be wrong, but we don't feel that kind of exhaustion. With great eagerness, we are now preparing for the June 24th. What is great about it is the excitement, the vigor of our people. And it makes us forget all about being tired. Everywhere I go, I see this. For example, our first rally is going to be in Erzurum. And this first campaign rally, which will take place in Erzurum, will be very different, as I feel. I now feel myself in the presence of all the Dadaş citizens, all the local residents of Erzurum. Well, during this event, we're going to announce our statement as a party. I know it's being expected by all the people, and we're going to explain all of that to our citizens. I will explain the election manifesto, and during that time we are going to have 31 rallies, and we are going to have rallies in certain sub-provinces as well. Well, we have believed in something, as Neşet Ertaş says, "He who runs with love shall never feel exhausted." And love is our fuel, so we never feel tired. And as Aşık Veysel says, in the first day, he says, we are walking on a long and narrow path, and walking that path day and night. So we consider ourselves to be on this long and narrow path, a tortuous one, and we will continue to do so as long as our people, our nation, tells us to walk. So far they've told so, and we will continue to do that.
We will have many questions. We will talk about those long and hard. However, I would like to ask more humanitarian side of the Ramadan. Sometimes people think that we are always with the President of the Republic, and they ask us, doesn't he sleep? We say we sleep on the plane when we go on a journey with him, but we don't know about him. But I'm curious about one thing. First day of Ramadan, you were coming back from the UK and you made your statement there. And during Sahur, coming back from Bosnia, you were on the plane. Doesn't your family say, just this iftar we should do together with the family or grandsons? Will you do that? Does the President of the Republic have time to think about these things? Yes, there will be iftar or sahur. There will be a family iftar.
Of course, we're going to do either iftar or a sahur. Do you know Balum in Ankara? Well, you're a TV person, you don't know about Balum. How is that? I was in Balum yesterday evening. I was accompanied by my wife, and we shared our fast-breaking dinner with two citizens, ordinary people. Well, of course, while we're having our fast-breaking dinner, you know, we're surrounded by so many people, and all the people in the neighborhood, they come to see us, and when we set out, I wish I had come in a bus, because it would be easier to speak, to address the crowd, because otherwise it's not very easy. But it was really abundant evening. Having iftar with those people, seeing the affection in their eyes. I mean, that is the greatest thing about election rallies of politicians like us. You know, Pelin Hanım asked whether we're tired or not. You do not feel tired when it happens this way, because this kind of energy replaces any kind of tiredness, and that gives us the strength to go on. And I mean, it has been this way since my mayoring days, and it has been this way until now, and it will be this way in the future. And as long as it's
and after breaking a fast and a dinner, and we would like to have some visits. It's nice to be talking about Ramadan. We enjoy this. Yes, of course. It's very nice to talk about Ramadan and the fruitfulness about Ramadan. But I would like to ask some other questions and about getting into the all the news people were asking about the deputies, members of parliaments, and we see the leaders, and we see a very young candidate group. So what do you think about this? So what kind of a preparation process are they going through? So you go in and out. So would you be taking care of all these names? I'm very curious about this.
Finding, I must say. In the previous years, we had different kind of opportunity, but this time we have early elections, and we also have pre-scheduled visits to the UK, to Bosnia, and also the summit of the Islamic Organization of Cooperation. It made things difficult for me to follow up all this work up to a certain point, but still, even if I forfeited some sleep, I did the follow-up, and we created two important commissions here. One of them was a lower commission, at which we have the Central Decision and Management Board making the more critical decisions, and of course we have a council of our parliamentarians. With all of those people, the lower commission carried out its tasks. So all of the applicants had to go through this commission, and if they were assessed positively, it was referred to the higher commission, which was presided by myself, and I was present in the sessions of these commissions, and I was accompanied by Mr. Prime Minister and also my VP in charge of election affairs, also the head of women's branches and the youth branches, and also a relevant person from the lower commissions. They were all part of this work, and we worked together to carry out the tasks of this higher commission, during which time we made the final decisions about the candidates. And after doing that, we said, may it be auspicious for our people, and until the very final moment, we continue to do background checks, the intelligence work that may be required, because as you know, there should be no infiltrated members of FETÖ organization or PKK members or Daesh supporters or sympathizers. And in spite of all the precautions, you could always have infiltrations. Well, of course, we have received over 7,000 applications, and among those 7,000 people, we had to funnel it down to 600 candidates, and if these people were sincere about their devotion to the country, of course we are going to work with these people in a spirit of fraternity, and they are going to make all the efforts until the elections, because AK Party is not an ordinary party. This is a cause, and we need people who are devoted to this cause. Well, if they see me as their chairperson, as their president, then we are going to walk this journey together. As I said earlier, we are going to have many rallies in over 30 provinces, and we have just been to the congresses, and I have attended those congresses in majority of the major cities, and we have refreshed ourselves during those congresses, and this will be immediately followed by the rallies, starting with the major metropolitan cities, and we are going to visit places which we have not been before. And in the meantime, there will be places where Mr. Prime Minister and some of the other ministers are going to attend. They're all planned, and tomorrow, after the election manifesto and announcement of candidates, we're going to continue.
Son listelere baktığımızda 21 bakanımız da seçilebilecek çok iyi yerlerde aday olarak gösterildi.
Candidates from great places where they could be elected, and we know that elected representatives cannot be ministers. Are you going to completely renew the cabinet?
Well, of course, we have a different situation here. Our party is like reborn. I mean, we don't have a cabinet of 25 ministers now. The number is going to significantly decrease. And what is going to be the number at the parliament? Of course, we will have to see that as well. The number at the parliament must be invigorating you. So we make a special emphasis on strong National Assembly. And in order to achieve that, we need to take decisive steps. and we're going to announce all of that tomorrow. And for that, the power of the parliament, if it's joined with the power of the president, we will have a strong state. We need a strong state here. And from another aspect, the cabinet to be formed must contain the most elect people who have strong leadership skills. And the president is going to create such a team, and with that team, I mean, we have 16-year experience. This is not our apprenticeship, or this is not our pre-mastery period. We are starting a mastery period. And it's not I for us, it's we. We are here with 20 years experience, 4.5 years of which was spent in the mayor's office of a metropolitan city like Istanbul. And everybody knows the kind of progress we have made, both for Istanbul and for Turkey. And that was followed by presidency. And we are carrying the country forward with great harmony between the assembly and the presidency. So, it's not the same as starting a journey from scratch and starting with 20 years experience. This kind of experience you cannot buy at your ordinary shops. We have a deep knowledge of this country, its people, and we are going to resume our journey. We're not starting it from scratch. And especially with the transition to the presidential system, our steps are going to gain impetus. And we're going to break free from the shackles of oligarchy. This will be more easier now, and so far, thanks to Allah, we are special because we have always delivered our promises. And everybody's making promises now. How would I know that you would deliver on those promises? There are people here who have already delivered. We're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk as well. What do the people expect from us? They're expecting work. It's not just about talk.
Minister's decrees, can we say the bureaucracy process will accelerate?
We're going to make faster progress. And secondly, we are going to create highly qualified teams. And I always say one thing, we need to rule the country like a joint stock company. Otherwise, bureaucrats, technocrats will be what you have, and you will be incapacitated to run the country properly. That's why our decisiveness here is of critical importance. We will make fast progress, and we say we will take our country beyond the level of developed civilizations. Take a look at the history of the Republic. In Istanbul, at the Bosporus, there are two bridges, one from the time of late President Özal and the other from the time of late President Demirel. But within the 16 years we've been in office, we have built the Avrasya Tunnel, the Eurasian Tunnel. We built the Marmaray. Hundreds of millions of ridership have used that. And we built Yavuz Sultan Selim Bridge, And that's not the end of it. We have built a bridge on the Gulf to solve a long-lasting problem, and with those we have made distances shorter. I mean, during the history of the Republic, only 25 airports had been built. Within the 16 years, we have added 16 new airports. Airlines have now become the lines of the people, per se. And there is a ruling party which is doing this. And now we are making this politics more dynamic. Through what? With the presidential system. This system is going to bring about a lot of advantages for us. When we started out, I told my colleagues, we are going to achieve something in education, health, justice, and safety, security. Turkey built on these 4 pillars. And while building this country, in transportation, energy, in agriculture, in foreign policy, we need to take serious steps. Have we done all of that so far? Yes, we have. You look at the history of the Republic, all the highways, all the motorways, total is 6,100 kilometers. We have added around 20,000 kilometers long motorways, doubleways to that. And now the distances, the duration of travel and the traffic accident risks between different provinces. We all know the numbers now, and we're all traveling between cities. All of that was not easy. Thanks to Allah, in Turkey there is no part of Turkey where energy is not available, and our energy potential has significantly increased. I mean, there are only 2 provinces where natural gas is not available at the moment, and we will have it available in all of the 81 provinces. What it means is my people in the north and south and east and west of Turkey have attained humane living standards. So Auntie Aisha will not have to go down and carry coal or wood to the stove. All they will do is push a button and everything will be warm and cozy. Our people deserve this, have always deserved this, but the ruling parties before us, they never thought this was a serious problem.
And their problems, their issues, so you made an emphasis, this was very important. You express your actions and you say that what you have achieved so far is the guarantee of the things that you're going to achieve in the future. So you're going to explain, express the list tomorrow. So maybe you can leave it for tomorrow, but can we get some clues?
Or if you can compare it to the manifesto.
Well, of course, this goes into detail now. I have a presentation in this manifesto, and after that I'm explaining how did we get so far, what have we promised and what have we delivered, what have we not delivered, and how is this new system going to explain itself. All of that you will find within the election manifesto, and there is one other thing. We have what kind of concrete actions will we take. I'm going to give you an important hint here. I'm sure you haven't heard about it from anyone else. We are environmentalists. Until today, We have planted not millions, but billions of trees. This is what we've been known for, and now we are going to take a new step, which is this. In some provinces of Turkey, we are going to create nations' gardens. For instance, in Konya, for example, there used to be a Konya Stadium.
I know Konya very well.
Since we have built a new stadium, we are going to create a nation's garden there, where the stadium used to be. The same goes for Eskişehir. Where the old stadium used to be, we are going to create a nation's garden. And similarly, in Istanbul, I think this is the biggest good news. Maybe I went ahead of myself. Well, actually, that is something that was needed. And hopefully, we are going to create a nation's garden in the location of Atatürk Airport in the 29th of October. We are opening the brand new world-class airport, and it will be commissioned, but the existing Atatürk Airport is going to be transformed into a giant nation's garden. And we wish to have this kind of park or garden at the heart of the city, because we keep hearing about the gardens and the parks of England or New York, and we will have these as well. I believe a project design work is underway as we speak, and with the opening ceremony in the 29th of October, we are going to mobilize efforts and all works at the location, and it will take some time, of course, to make it ready. In the same way, we are going to use some of the larger plots in order to create nations' gardens, using lands from replaced stadiums. The same goes for Gaziantep. We want to transform the old stadium site into a garden, and we want to convert those sites into green areas which can be populated by our people for leisure. And another interesting site in Istanbul is a piece of land in Maslak. It's a very large area, and we also wish to create a nation's garden in this area. Our people will be freely going into these places with their families, their children. We need this. And since we have municipality background, and this is our job. We will do this. I think this is good news. Well,
it's the most meaningful news of the day. I would like to go back to the elections once again. In the previous question, with support of the Parliament, the President of the Republic must be really strong, as you said. Lately, with regard to public opinion, you will be the President. The public opinion is convinced about that, but the AKP might not get the majority in the Parliament. What do you think about this?
Well, I do not find these news to be trustworthy. We believe that with Allah's blessing, both my person and my party will be blessed with the support of our people. Until now, Starting with 2001, we created our party, we started working, and since then we have won every election that we participated, and our people have never left us alone. And in this case, if the people bestow the duty of presidency on my person for a second time, I'm sure that it is going to give it with a strong parliament, because having a strong parliament is going to ensure that our presidential services will be more successful. That is why we created the People's Alliance, which comes with a certain quality. It contains the Nationalist Movement Party and the Great Union Party. We created this alliance together, and this alliance is inviting to unity, not to separation. And we have brought together different understandings with shared denominations, not like the union of black and white. And this makes it special and different from the others, because you're both national and local, because national and local understandings, approaches are coming together. Otherwise, you would not have any harmony. And thankfully, we are working in great harmony toward our efforts for the election campaign. Tomorrow, we will announce the manifesto, and on Saturday, we will embark on our campaign with Erzurum. It's like the historical Erzurum Congress coming up with this kind of enthusiasm.
Did you have a target and you are locked on your own target and you are going in the direction of your targets? I don't know if this is a right question, but this is the they have the opposition party and the Inces team has been expelled, and they have their own candidates, and they say that there are some special candidates. It is being said that there are some rumors spreading. So do you have an evaluation about this?
I choose not to talk about that. I mean, we have our own affairs to tend to. So with our own team, we are going to set out. I mean, that is their internal affairs, and that concerns only them. So if it's their problem, what is it to us? We can mind our own business.
Ask about your assessment. But lately in Turkey, everybody is talking about something abroad in the press. They're talking about this. Turkey is polarizing. Turkey is polarized. But when you look at this picture, especially in the opposition, people who would never come together, are coming together right now. Does it surprise you? This is not a polarization, but Recep Tayyip Erdogan brings everyone together.
If I have been instrumental in the coming together of parties which would otherwise never come together, I mean, that's a blessing. What did they say? They said, we don't want a shouting leader. I mean, we are rallying and they are rallying, and we will never deal with these things. Let me tell you what we will do, and how we will do, and how long will it take us to do those things. These will be our main concerns, and every now and then we will talk about what we have done, because people are known to forget. If we don't communicate our achievements, they will be denied later, because people will forget. That's why you need to talk about these things. I mean, ask people about the high-speed train, they would not know. Why? Because they haven't ridden it. If they had, maybe they would know. And we have started journeys on high-speed trains, and we are connecting new cities each day with high-speed train lines. I mean, what other investment could be better than this? The city hospitals, for example. Most people would be unaware of the city hospitals, maybe even you, Pelin Hanım. Have you been to any of them? Which one?
Because of my mother's sickness, and she was in the hospital, Göztepe
No,
Hospital.
that is not a city
No, it was
hospital.
a state hospital. No, it was a city hospital indeed, that's correct.
Well, in Istanbul, Başakşehir, we are building a giant city hospital, and the new tender will be for Sancaktepe. And all the tender preparations are complete. And as you know, there is one in the vicinity of Bilkent and one near Etlik, both in Ankara. They will have 3,500 beds capacity each. So when you go into these buildings, you are going to be treated for everything, and state-of-the-art equipment and services. You will get the top quality service in those buildings. And this is a healthcare system even the Western world has not achieved yet. We have opened one in Mersin. That was great. One in Sparta, one in Yozgat. Look, I'm talking about what we have achieved. And the others are being built as we speak in almost all major cities. We are going to build at least one city hospital, which are going to create attraction, because people attach most importance to the state, but the biggest state in the world is health. And we are the offsprings of Ottomans who attached great importance to health. These are great projects. We opened one in Kayseri. It's splendid. And you know how the old men, the old women who've been treated in those hospitals, you know how they're praying for you. Because you're not charging those people, because that's what a strong state is. And as a sign of a strong state, it is an understanding that gives back to the people what it has taken from them. And thanks to Allah, we have achieved those, and we continue to do those. That's in health. And when you come to education, we have taken schools, universities to our children. We used to have only 75 universities, and now we have more than 200 universities. That is what we have achieved. Students can choose to attend any university in their own city, or they could attend one in another city. And this was not possible in the past. And looking at the number of classrooms across Turkey, thanks to Allah, the number of classrooms increasing significantly. And this is showing what kind of big steps we have taken in education. If you would remember, people could not even find books. We used to stand in a line at the bookstore in order to find this book, which would never come. But now in elementary schools, in secondary schools, when the schools open, the books are placed on the desks and made available to the children. In my class, we used to have 75 students, and now there aren't any classrooms with more than 35 students. There's classes with less students, and this is increasing quality. We have hired almost 300,000 teachers, and the number of students per teacher has been reduced significantly.
When we were getting ready with Pelin, in social media there's high interest in teacher appointments. We weren't sure about talking about this, but you have talked about this. You have appointed 300,000 teachers, and this will continue in the future, I'm sure. Mr. President, I'll ask this. You have talked about what you have done. You talked about what you are going to do. And when these election campaigns continue, the opposition also has some promises.
I mean, I'm not going to tell everything tonight. And tomorrow, during the election manifesto, I will explain more. Well, another one is Kanal Istanbul. Unfortunately, it's late. We promised to deliver it, and that's a great project. Once we've built it, and along with Kanal Istanbul, we are going to create new cities on both banks, and Istanbul will be more beautiful with these new cities. So it will be in the close vicinity of the new airport. We are creating a settlement of 10,000 people so as to make sure that the staff for the new airport will not have any commuting problems. And we are going to provide reasonable accommodation and housings so that these airline workers can commute easily to their work. And this is what running a city is about. It's not just about talk, it's about work.
I want to ask about the promises of the opposition. We will decrease the taxes, we will increase the minimum wage, we will decrease the gas prices.
I am a realist. You know, I would like to feel my feet on the ground, otherwise things will not work. You have to ask them, how many trees have you planted? You're talking about lifting the special consumption tax. What are you going to replace it with? I mean, that is nonsense. I mean, is there any state around the world who does not tax you or who does not collect value-added tax? I mean, you can reduce it. I mean, when you say, I will abolish this, it's easy to make this promise because you are not bearing the responsibility. You need to tell what you will replace it with. But rest assured that our citizens are very educated and they know how to do the math. I mean, their mentality in the past, they couldn't do this. How will they do it now? Because the older representatives of Republican People's Party, you know what they used to do? They used to put bread on rations. And they introduced rations for the bread, for butter, for LPG. The former CHP I'm talking about, we're not going to buy those stories. They might say they're not the same party anymore. You could say that, but this is your record. I mean, it's easy for them to talk now because they're not running the country. And so, first of all, you need to show proof.
When we take a look at the meetings, and we see that the opposition party is building their own plans on the second part of the elections, and after the second tour of elections, they have some assumptions and they have some predictions about this, and little time is left. I'm sure you're taking a look at the surveys. Some are explained publicly. Maybe there are some private surveys. Can you share some of your evaluations?
You have conducted research yourself. As you know, on the 14th of August, we took part in the elections, and I was elected in the first round with 52% of the votes, and I was opposed by 14 parties. My nation knows me from the elections of 14 August, and they know what has been done since then. I believe that my people are not going to surprise and is going to support this son of theirs, and with the new system we are going to build the Turkey of the future, and we will revive it as well.
So do you have a new survey in your hands?
We have a new research, yes. It says
what does it say?
There ain't no stopping, we will move on.
Going to foreign policy, one last question, especially projects past and future. Turkey's dependency to the outside when it comes to energy, and we know that the hard work is ongoing to mitigate this. There are new wells in Hakkari, and when it comes to national defense, we have seen what Turkey is capable of, especially when it comes to Afghan operation. Where in the near term, will these projects accelerate?
All of these achievements, I'm not calling them projects anymore. They are finished works. You talked about energy. The new drills, the new oil wells in Hakkari, that's not new. And that's not the entire story. We also have Mersin Akkuyu initiative in relation to nuclear energy, and that is strongly underway. And with that, it will be followed by the new steps, the steps for new Akkuyu. But another thing is we are seeking clean energy. What is that? Clean, renewable energy through TANAP. That is what we're after. Another step is we are doing very good in relation to wind energy. We have some very good developments. And in solar energy, we have taken a serious step in Konya for 1,000 megawatts. Since these are renewable energies, they're not inviting any pollution. On the contrary, they are purely clean energies, and there is no talk of pollution. And that increased Turkey's power into the future. We are carrying out some talks with China and Japan, and through those talks we are going to do second and third packages for nuclear energy. And recently, Berat Bey, our Ministry of Energy, was in China to carry out some talks, and we are getting results from those talks, gradually speaking. I mean, this is another reason why we must continue in office, because we have this international quality. We have been accepted by the international community, and because of that acceptance, they are entering into agreements with you. For example, IoT, they pledge to do this jointly with us because they trust us, they believe in us. Do you think Russia would enter into an agreement like this? Would China, would Japan enter into agreement with a country they don't trust? We have made them feel this confidence. It's not just about money in your pocket. It's about the kind of confidence you can invoke in others. Why? We have diversified our budget. There is no need for unsupported talk. And we are successful today because we have diversified our budget. Let's say today we are building the 18th March Dardanelles Bridge. We're using the same system to build this bridge, and the completion date is 2023 and probably will be earlier in 2022. So these are started projects. And this is how we run things, because we never make promises we cannot deliver. We always discuss what we have achieved, and that is what we are doing now. Sooner or later, we are going to complete these projects. In Adıyaman, for example, we built the SCP bridge. It's indeed a great bridge. I mean, these people, they cannot build such projects. We built that bridge on that gigantic dam. Why? Because we love our country. We love our people. We're not focused only on the Bosporus. We're thinking about the entire country. We will go everywhere. We will build everywhere. In the earthquake in Van, we landed in Van during the night, and we left almost no houses there without a roof. We built more than 20,000 housing units there. Why? Because I would never leave my people out in the open. Our teams, our ministers, we worked day and night with all of our colleagues. They spent day and night there, Kızılay, the Red Crescent, AFAD, and we achieved those things. And I remember the earthquakes in Sakarya, in Düzce. The state was nowhere to be found. I had just come out of prison. I mean, I went to see it for myself, and I could not see a sign of the state. But this is no more. Immediately, we're there. An earthquake in Simav, we're there. And a total different Simav. Anywhere you could think of.
We have another questions. We have lots of topics to discuss, and with the foreign relationships and the struggle with FETÖ. So I would like to get to the topic of about what do we have in the terrorist organizations behind the attempt of the assassination. So where did you get this information? That we are curious about.
Well, where do I get my intelligence?
So is this
the
a
National
foreign
Intelligence Authority.
related intelligence?
Well, MIT has counterparts in other countries, and yet we're used to this as well. This is not the first assassination intelligence we have received, and up until now we have received numerous different intelligence like this one, and when that happens, we're not simply going to cancel everything, because we believe in fate. We were advised maybe not to attend, but I said no. In every corner, from thousands of people were to come from around Europe, and I had to be there. I couldn't simply send someone else. And we carried out talks with the President's office, and we did our rally, and then we came back. Maybe little problems might have occurred, but we were greeted with incredible enthusiasm. And I mean, inside the hall in Bosnia, there was a total different atmosphere, and the President, he told me that all of their hotels were booked, even the ones outside Sarajevo. People poured in from all around Europe. We will go there. It's what is meant to happen will happen, and we will do what's necessary. Thankfully, Mr. Baki Izetbegovic delivered a great speech. I delivered my speech, and I was told that there were 12,000 people in that hall, and also people showed a lot of interest as we paraded through the main street. And of course, that was emotional for us. We felt proud. When we visited the grave of the wise leader, Aliya Izetbegovic, the feeling was different. It was so emotional. It was indeed a great day in Bosnia, and we carried out workshop between leaders, and we carried out several talks, and we announced the outcome of our proceedings through a press meeting. And we have a goal set for this year, and we have a rapidly growing network of relations. We have a mutual trade of $650 million. We want to make it 1.5 billion.
We are outside the country now with Bosnia. Right before that, you were in the UK. You had a few contacts in the UK. From defense industry, and especially the UK's approach to Middle East is very different compared to the United States or other European countries. In this year, more than 3 million British tourists will come to Turkey for holidays. They have made their reservations already. In the near future, we will. Should we expect closer relationships with the UK?
Well, before everything, I mean, you reminded me of something without knowing in relation to the defense industry. We have created a network of relationships with the British, but we are experiencing a significant leap in our defense industry. For instance, we have the attack helicopters we have done with Augusto Vessan, Italian company. We have produced 30 units so far, and that has met a significant need on our part. These helicopters have outstanding firepower, and we are planning to increase the production of those helicopters. And if we achieve that, we will be able to sell them to third markets. And work is underway to that end. And another step is our Altai tanks, and we're working on that as well, but I can't say we have started mass production yet, and once that is taken care of, the same will apply to Altai tank. And we had acquired around 600 Leopard tanks, but we are now capable of servicing and repairing those in our own facilities here. And on top of all of that, we have the unmanned aircrafts and unmanned weaponized aircrafts who have helped us greatly in our fight against terror within the countries. And they have also been used to laser-marked targets, which are later bombed with F-16s, F-15s. This is incredible technology. And the Israelis, the Americans, they haven't given this technology to us. The Israelis, they gave us 10 drones, and they caused nothing but trouble. And now we are free from all those problems. We have our private industry building those based on our needs, and they work very hard to meet the needs of our country, and that's why it's very important. Also, we have built our own infantry rifles. Also, we have signed an agreement for TFX, for fighter jets with the UK, and we're taking these steps with them, and the defense industry, Defense Undersecretariat is carrying out the talks, and with all of those, another very important step is that the British are regarding us as partners in their steps in defense industry. Their only precondition is they want to do it with us, but they do not want us to be dependent on any other parties. Rolls-Royce, for instance, and they have talks with a private company. In the case of Rolls-Royce, if we reach an agreement, we can do a lot of business with them. And our colleagues have had very fruitful meetings, and hopefully the outcomes will also be good. And diversification is very helpful when it comes to defense industry, and we are now strong in the fight against internal terror. Also, we're strong in affairs related to northern Syria. And another important thing is that we have diversified our armored personnel carriers. We have more than one producers. We have such vehicles that can house 14, 15 soldiers, and if they have secured themselves with seat belts, we have not seen any casualties in those. And these are great developments and will have great results, I believe.
So you asked a question about FETÖ.
President, the Nation Gardens is trending in social media right now. They're saying into my earphone.
A few minutes ago, so we were talking about 15 July coup attempt, and so we had the experience of the value about what is national and ours. So we will be talking about FETÖ and the fight against FETÖ, and the leader of the Republican Party, İnce, claimed that we didn't ask for Fethullah Gülen from America properly. Would you like to evaluate about this?
Well, I really do not want to talk about that. But about that, Mr. İnce
veya Milli İstihbarat'a bu işin ispatını yapması lazım.
Must prove that this conversation took place vis-à-vis the Ministry of Justice or the National Intelligence Authority. If I'm inviting him, if he's honest, to state with evidence to the Ministry of Justice who has given this information on the part of the Americans, they should provide this evidence so that the National Intelligence Agency has a say in the matter. I'm not saying any further because I know what this is about, but I invite him to prove what he said. He can simply explain this to the National Intelligence Agency, who from which American agency has called him and told those things.
Since we are talking about the United States, let me ask you this, Mr. President. We had tense relationships lately with the USA. the extradition of FETÖ kingpin and USA's help to the terrorist organization in Syria, Turkish Afrin operation, and probable Manbij operation in the future. Will this be on the agenda after the elections? And now there is France in Manbij, and we see their soldiers also there. Should we expect the relationship with France to be tense also?
Well, Mr. Macron asked to meet with me recently. I think we're going to have a phone conversation today or tomorrow. We're just trying to find a suitable time for him. I mean, this kind of problems occur every now and then with the US, and maybe because of the tempo of the pre-election period, maybe we did not talk very often. Well, of course, these things will come up.
So we will be talking about the Jerusalem issue, because we know that this is a very important cause for our president, and America has signed a very important, crucial provocation, and we know the persecutions of Israel has committed in Gaza, and we have seen a very ugly picture today, and there is an ambassador of Israel, and there is a picture presented. There is a Photoshop photo, and instead of Masjid al-Aqsa, there was another temple, and they're both smiling. That's a photo like that, and it's a very interesting photo. So what is this leading to? What do you think about this? So where are they taking this issue to with Israel in America?
As we speak, America and Israel has taken this decision, which holds no value. To start with, America has almost reset its reputation down to zero. We have taken an initiative at the UN with Yemen, which resulted in a voting. 128 countries said no. 9 countries, which I've not heard of before, 2 of them were US and Israeli, and I think the other were town states or something, and they sided with US and Israeli. This shows us that these actions are not approved around the world. If you say, I have money, I have power, and I can intimidate all of you using that, this is not going to stick. And it did not stick. And nobody took you seriously. And now you have moved your embassy to Jerusalem. So what? Well, the capital city of Palestine is Jerusalem, and everyone knows that. There is no hesitation whatsoever about that. You might agree or not, doesn't matter. But in our hearts, the capital of Palestine is Jerusalem. I don't need to talk about the future of it, and we'll see what time may bring.
In the previous few days, in Istanbul summit of OIC,
in 3 days, in such short notice, they attended our invitation, and we carried out a great summit.
Islam world, there are many problems currently, and Turkey, in a hurry, invited the organization. The 9 heads of the states were there, tens of foreign ministers were there. They made a few decisions. Will they gather again and make clearer decisions? You said you had a self-criticism. You said we condemned
in the coming round,
only
this is going
the
to
past.
continue. Our foreign ministers are going to follow this up. But there is this decision list of 30 items. We have agreed to this, and yet the most important one among those items is economic sanctions on the invading Israeli state. Another one is the country's positions, parliaments, companies, and individuals who approve of the actions of the United States are going to be sanctioned. Also, we need to stop the entrance into market of the products illegally produced by Israel. Also, we foresee economic sanctions and precautions against those who benefit from the relationships with Israel. And also, we have assigned the Secretary General of OIC to follow up this matter. The Secretary General is going to prepare recommendations, and we are, as member states, are going to implement those decisions. And in summary, these were the outcome, and even more importantly, one of the decisions was UN deploying a task force in Palestine, just like in Somalia or in Kosovo, once in Bosnia and Herzegovina. A UN task force to be created here in Palestine. We call it the United Nations International Peace Corps, and we invited UN to do this.
There are a lot of things to do inside our country and outside our country. I would like to take the topic to the struggle against terrorism, because it can be both related as an internal topic and as an external topic. I would like to get some information from you about the struggle against terrorism. So they're also making some speculative comments about this. So what's your take on the issue?
In relation to the elections, the Ministry of the Interior has taken all kinds of precautions necessary, and they are coordinating with the Supreme Election Board, and what needs to be done from a legal point of view. Everything is on the table, I must say, and as of now there are steps to be taken in the region for security, and there are other steps that need to be taken, like the directors in the provincial election boards or in the sub-provinces. In the past, we have seen very unpleasant practices related to the appointment of directors in election boards, and I believe that we are not going to have that kind of concern in these elections. And this is one of the most important steps in relation to the security of elections. Another dimension is the parties. They also feel more comfortable in taking their own precautions. For instance, at AK Party, we are stronger. We are in a stronger position compared to the past in order to establish control of the polls. Another thing is there was this 100-meter rule in poll security. This rule is no more, so even if one of the poll officers reported, the law enforcement is going to be able to intervene. So these things this makes things easier.
By the way, they're talking into our ear. We are short on time, but we are back on election efforts. I want to say something. In the list, what can you say about the profiles in the lists? Person in Anatolia, are there any people such as our Uncle Mehmet is also on list.
And in Kocaeli we have seen a very nice young lady.
Ve biz bu konuda da mesela bizim şimdi 126 tane kadın adayımız var.
We have 126 women candidates.
Şu anda yaş ortalaması.
And as we speak, the average age is 44. We have 57 candidates under the age of 25. We have 167 candidates from the 26th term. We have 8 disabled candidates, and the candidate you just mentioned from Kocaeli, she was born in 2000. But she's really very cute, and she has an active interest in politics, and we have 57 candidates under the age of 25. Of course, it is important because when we started our political career, there was the 30H syndrome. So electing age was 18, but you had to be 30 in order to be elected. But electing is easier. Sorry, being elected is easier. What's more difficult is to elect, because all you need to do is appoint some candidates. But I explained to you in the beginning of today's program that we have 2 separate commissions for filtering the candidates. So it's not as easy as it used to be. And we have funneled down from over 7,000 candidates, and we have been very meticulous about the selection of candidates. Now, what is the age for electing and being elected? It's 18. It's an important development, and it brings about another thing. When the age for electing and being elected is 18, the Turkish parliament is going to be more dynamic. It doesn't mean that the house will be filled with those at the age of 18 or under the age of 25. No. This means the people who become part of this process, they're going to acquire serious experience, and even they're not elected this year, they will get the experience, that they will be elected next year or next elections. Also our women's branches, they're very actively working, so in the coming terms we are going to continue our journey with more dynamic teams.
So what was the age of Conqueror Mehmet when he conquered Istanbul? 21, wasn't it? Especially they are curious about the eastern cities. So could you please inform us about the eastern cities of Turkey?
For instance, although it was drilling well opening ceremony, Mr. Berat Albayrak went to Hakkari and went to Şırnak from there, and our Minister of the Interior, Süleyman Soylu, was also in the region. Our Defense Minister, Nurettin Bey, he was also there. We're not estranged from those regions. We keep visiting provinces in the regions, and I myself will start my rallies on Saturday in Erzurum, and we have done all the planning, and all of our colleagues, our ministers, we are going to visit everywhere, every city, be they in the east, be they in the north, both. It doesn't matter. We've never been estranged from those regions.
Thank you very much. We have to end, but if you want to speak, we can continue. I could have asked about terrorism. I will ask it like this. We are entering the election period now. It's on the agenda. The news, the journalists, the politicians are talking about election, but operations against terrorism continue.
In Afrin,
right?
We have neutralized 4,500 terrorists. Also in Jarablus, we have neutralized 3,000 Daesh members. It's continuing in northern Iraq as well. Around 350, 400 terrorists have been neutralized. And also within the last 2 days, we have neutralized 15 to 20 terrorists within Turkey. So the work is underway intensively. It will. No stopping. We go on.
So they're telling us that we are getting to the end of our time, and you have a very busy agenda, I know. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us. So do you have any last message to us?
Well, my final message is this.
81 milyon milletimizi ayırt etmeksizin seviyoruz.
We love our people. 81 million, one of them, every one of them. Let's remember Rabia. Single nation, single country, single flag, single ideal. We will be one, we will be big, we will be alive, we will be brothers, and we will be Turkey all together. We love our nation.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
So we are getting through the end of our broadcasting program that we made from the AK Party Center, and I hope the fruitfulness of Ramadan will be all over the year, and I hope we will have a nice period of elections. Thank you so much.